I've been waiting to talk about this. It's about that time.
If it wasn't for oh.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. I'm back with a new video, and ending the year, you know, the holidays are coming up. The holidays are around us, and in a week or so, it's going to be 2023. Most of y'all might be watching this in 2023, right? Going into a new year, everybody wants to have a fresh start, you know, a fresh mindset, fresh perspectives. And a part of that is working on yourself. You can't control other people, but you can control yourself, work on yourself. And this idea, a major topic I've been seeing a lot of things about, is the whole idea of toxic masculinity, right? And the whole idea of it, and what is it, and how people practice it, how people participate in it, how people perpetuate it, and like, are we victims of it? Do we practice it ourselves? Especially regarding to black men, because as a black man in his late 20s, yes, I'm in my late 20s, I know, I'm like, damn, I'm almost gonna be 30. I might not look like it, but yeah, it is what it is, right? Throughout my last 27 years, right, from childhood, now adulthood, in the media, just my observations I see in total, all my experiences and memories, I have a lot to say about toxic masculinity, especially in black men, because, you know, that's what I'm going to relate to the most, obviously. I want to make this a conversational video. I know a lot of the videos like this have like the fancy editing and this and that and this and that, but I want to make this a conversation piece and a discussion piece. You know, that's what the comments is for. And I'm really interested to get this discussion started. So let's go. Now, when you look up toxic masculinity, there's many definitions of it, because to be honest, masculinity is on a spectrum, right? So you have many perspectives of it, many ideas of it, but one of the major definitions I found that I feel like brings the whole scope of it is toxic masculinity emphasizes the worst aspects of stereotypically masculine attributes. Is represented by qualities such as violence, dominance, emotional illiteracy, homophobia, sexual entitlement, and hostility to femininity. All those different key words that was in that definition, I've seen many different things about, many different debates about, and I'm like, wow, this is really a growing problem. And sometimes you might not think that you're a part of it, but sometimes you might not realize that you are a part of it. When we talk about what is masculinity, right? I feel like a common ideal you'll have is people saying, you know, a man, a masculine man is supposed to be the backbone, the strength of a family unit, taking care of his responsibilities, treating his mother right, treating his wife right, treating his kids right, doing what he got to do to provide for his family, to provide for himself, doing everything he has to do not to become a common or preconceived statistic, right? The lines can get blurred, where the negative attributes of toxic masculinity can take over in a relationship, in a friendship, and just the way you go about being in life. You know, whether it's the violence, or some men being emotionally unavailable, or some men not wanting to do this or do that because they don't want to seem too feminine, that type of thing. All these different things, and, you know, not living in their truth, not being authentic to themselves, because it's like, I don't want people to look at me like this. And then I get judged, and because to be honest, that's another thing, right? You can be free, you can do this, you can do that, be whoever you want to be, but you go to a certain area, you go to a certain place, you interact with the wrong person sees you doing whatever, wearing whatever, acting how whatever, doing what you want to do, then that bothers people. And that's another toxic masculinity trait. It was just like, okay, this stranger, this person, whatever, minding their business, doing what they want to do, why does that bother you so much?
Why?
People's perceptions of masculinity get skewed, and it makes conflict that there never even had to be.
You think you know, you have no idea.
Another thing I want to start off with is, let's get into how these toxic masculinity traits get fed to us since birth. You know, it's preconceived notions that get fed to us as we grow up from society, from the last 100, 200 years of how this is supposed to be, how that is supposed to be, what a boy's supposed to like, what a girl's supposed to like, and what's meant for a man, what's meant for a woman. Even breaking it down to the color blue, the color pink. Oh, blue is for boys, pink is for girls. That's it. And most of us know, like, when you go shopping for a baby, whether it's your own or you're going to a baby shower or your friend, somebody in your family having a baby, you go baby shopping. Y'all know most of the clothes for girls, baby girls, is pink. Most of the clothes for baby boys is blue. You know, it's seen as this is for girls, this is for boys since birth. And when you really think about it, it's only a color. It's a pigment. So it's like, you see how society can play into that, where it's like 200 years ago, I'm pretty sure it's like these colors existed and it was just like, okay, it is what it is, whatever, right? But over the last however many years, it's been conditioned within us, marketing, society, belief. It's a common thought that, oh, that's for girls, that's for boys. And then this is just a basic little thing. It's just a color. But, you know, that can cause problems later on in life. You know, blue is a more unisex color. So it's just like, okay, if a girl want to wear blue, whatever. But this, I remember being in school, being younger, there were so many different things where a guy wanted to wear pink. Some people being like, okay. And the other people being like, and y'all know the rapper Cameron, when he wore pink back then, that was like a big like shift. Because he was a rapper. And he was wearing pink furs and the pink headbands and all that stuff. And it's just like, and then it changed some people's perspectives and perceptions of like, oh, and then other guys that follow rap culture and everything like that, right? They were like, oh, okay, maybe I could wear pink too. Cameron's doing it. So you see how it's like that follow the leader mentality, where some people be like, okay, this famous rapper's wearing pink, I could do it too. And other people be like, nah, pink is for girls, I ain't wearing that. So that's where toxic masculinity can even be fed to us since we were children, because we grow up thinking like this is only supposed to be this way. And as you get older, you realize it's like, no, you can do whatever you want to, but society tells you not to. Or you're going to have certain social repercussions because of it. Also, in regards to this discussion, the word zesty is going to come up a lot. And that's just a word that's been, I've seen on social media a lot. A lot of women, a lot of men use that word as a cover up for the word feminine. Or that's another way they want to call somebody the F word, if you know what I'm saying. And for another example, let's say you have the scenario of, you say you have a 6-7-year-old son, right? And he comes home saying, oh, mom, dad, I want to take ballet lessons. And then there's the reaction of,
Hold up, wait. Oh my God, hold up.
Why?
you know, this football practice, this baseball practice, this, that, wrestling. Just say, right? And then some parents would be like, ballet, what? And the other parents would be like, okay. No, they'll go buy them the outfit, buy them the shoes, buy them whatever. So parents, you know, it might come as a little shock, but they'll help their kids, they'll support their kids in doing whatever they want to do. But for some, it's like ballet. Ballet is for girls. What? Try out for football. What are you doing? You know, that's the type of attitude that a lot of parents will have. Why? Because of the preconceived notions of ballet is an extra, that's for girls. You gotta wear leotards and tights and wear pink and do pirouettes and just think to yourself, right? In that scenario, if your 7-year-old son comes to you saying, oh, I want to try out for ballet, are you going to support it or are you going to be against it? Whatever answer may be, think about it. I know some of y'all might be like, that has a lot to do with toxic masculinity. Not only can it be practiced, but it can be taught. When you really think about it, no one is born thinking a certain way. All of this is learned behavior from observing other people or watching the repercussions of people acting a certain way. Like, okay, if I do this, I'm going to be treated like this. This is the norm, so let me stay with that. Right? Right. This even has to do with men growing up being able to express their emotions. Because what's another common thing that's known when like little boys, they get to a certain age and they cry over something, it's like, shut up, be a man. Boys don't cry. I've heard that many times. So then when that same little boy grows up to be a teenager, he grows up to be in his 20s and his 30s, and he's emotionally unavailable. That stems from the trauma of his parents or somebody telling him, shut up, you're not supposed to cry. So next time something happens, they bottle up their emotions. All of this starts when you're young. That's another thing. The toxic masculinity traits, all of this is learned behavior starting from when you're young. Of course, you're not around your parents all the time. You adapt to certain behaviors around your friends or whoever. But the whole key of this is all learned behavior. So it's like the whole toxic masculinity, where does it stem from? That learned behavior. Adapting to social situations so you won't be singled out as a punk or too feminine or too this, too that. Anything that's gonna have negative social reactions towards you. But being on Twitter, Instagram, social media a lot, that plays a huge part in it too. And sometimes I already know you can't take social media for 100% fact, truth, like, oh, this is how everybody thinks. But it's social media. It's a common thought. When you see certain tweets go viral, you got 50,000 to 100,000 people retweeting something, agreeing with something, liking something. It's like, this is a common thought. A lot of times it's not talked about, but I've seen a lot of tweets where a woman would tweet something and it'll go viral in regards to how a man is supposed to act or how he's not supposed to act, or, oh, I went on a date with this guy and he ordered a fruity drink. That was my last date with him. It's like, oh wow. So guys can't even drink fruity drinks no more? Like, oh, he gotta drink a beer. He can't drink a Bahama Mama. He can't drink an apple martini. Oh, that's a girl drink. That's for women. Even little things like that.
Oh my God.
Also, in regards to this part of the conversation, there was another tweet that went viral with both men and women agreeing that a man that's too well manicured or basically has too much of a good hygiene is quote unquote zesty. And y'all remember that TikTok? Some of y'all might know that TikTok that went viral of girlfriends or wives asking their boyfriends or husbands about how do they shower, and some of them admitting to not taking a shower properly because it was too feminine or too zesty to wash certain parts of the body. And y'all can just imagine which parts they were talking about. Just wow. Or even I've had stories of, or just little experiences where certain people find out that you listen to certain music, they look at you with a side eye. I've brought this up many times before where it's like, okay, as a black man, especially back then in middle school, high school, you know, people expected you to listen to rap music. You know, back then it was like the rap groups, and then like the LL Cool J's and NWA and Tupac, Biggie, and then, you know, as time goes on, it went to like the Lil Waynes and then the Drakes, and then the Pop Smokes and 21 Savage, all these different rappers, and Future, right? And in some cases, most of these rappers perpetuate the misogynistic type of attitude and like the, okay, toxic masculinity traits that's displayed in their music. Now in real life, that's another thing people don't realize. In real life, they may be family guys, have son, take care of the kids, you know, let's, for the most part, right? Now sometimes you hear about these rappers doing this, doing that, but for the most part, that's just an image they sell for their music, and people eat it up. A lot of guys eat it up, and then they perpetuate that in their real life. Meanwhile, this rapper that was rapping about, he spent time with his family all the time. He's been married to one woman for 10 years and never cheated on her. Let's just say, because another thing has shown that some men bond over being toxic together. Like that's a bond, that's a trait that they all have in common, and they could talk about it. And even with the whole Megan Thee Stallion situation with Tory Lanez, where you see how Tory Lanez was popular, but he wasn't that popular. He has all these men on his side just because it's like, oh, Megan's a liar. She's this, she's that. The evidence proves otherwise, but it's that whole idea of like toxic characteristics where the woman is wrong, the man was right. Leave it alone. Another thing when it comes to black men specifically is this idea that we can't be multi-dimensional. There's one certain box that black men are supposed to be kept in society. So when certain black men reach out of those norms, they stretch out of that box, they're looked at as weird or funny or zesty. You know, because like sometimes I want to listen to Pop Smoke. Sometimes I want to listen to Aaliyah or Beyonce. Sometimes I want to listen to Michael Jackson. Sometimes I want to listen to Phyllis Hyman. Sometimes I want to listen to Anita Baker. What is the whole thing with that? Where it's like certain music you listen to, a certain drink you want to order, certain emotions that you want to share. Sometimes other men and women will look at you crazy. Or like that tweet that went viral, they won't want to date you or won't want to pursue you because it's like, oh, why are you doing that? That's not what a man is supposed to do. And it's like, wow. Another one I always been waiting to talk about when it comes to black men, and I said this before, but talking about it deeper, how you're supposed to act as a black man and how it's this societal image of us where you're supposed to be hood, you're supposed to be ratchet, you're supposed to be gangster, you're supposed to be thug and participate in that type of culture, right? In one way or another. Some woman that will perpetuate and embrace that hood culture of like, oh, I want a hood dude. I want my man to be ghetto. I love hood nigga. All that type of stuff that I seen a lot of women tweet. Another thing that goes viral, and you have like even these like the baby mamas of some of these rappers coming out saying, oh, I can't be with no square. I need a hood dude. It's just like the opposite of acting hood is being square. Like if you don't perpetuate those hood stereotypes, ghetto thug life stereotypes, then you're a square. It's like there's no medium to some people. There's no spectrum to some people. It's either you're this or you're that. And that's what people get mixed up because you see this big gap and there's many things in the middle that some people miss out on trying to perpetuate those toxic masculinity traits.
The lowest is what? 0.
And specifically in regards to black men and this type of image that they get or that we get. And to be honest, it's a generalization. And you'll see a lot of women saying, oh, a hit dog will holler. But sometimes that hit dog was hit by a stray bullet, if you know what I mean. Because a lot of black guys will get that label of being deadbeat fathers, emotionally unavailable, they're always cheating. But it's like, you can't base your idea of a certain demographic of people just on 2-3 experiences you had, dating wise, relationship wise, whatever. Because another thing that's interesting to me, and I'm like, wow, and it's still active today on YouTube, is there's a lot of anti-dating black men YouTube pages where you have like these content creators, right, who are black women. I've seen it, and there's at least 5 of them that's really popular. They have this whole idea of anti-dating black men. In these conversations, in the comment sections of these videos, you have a whole bunch of black women coming together like, oh yeah, black men are terrible, they're abusive, they're this, they're that, they're colorists. All these different ideals of black men in general that they all come together to discuss, and then it's like, oh yeah, that's why I date interracial. That's why I date white guys. That's why da-da-da. I'm like, wow. So it's like black men in general just get the rep of being the most toxic in regards to their masculinity, to where you'll have all these anti-dating black men pages. And some of them are popular. Some of these videos I've seen, they got over 100K, 200K. The content creator got over 200,000 subscribers, just discussing how toxic black men are and how it's encouraged for them to date outside of their race to black women. Like, oh, you still dating black men? Oh, you got to catch up. It's just like, I've seen so many different comments where I'm like, wow, has toxic masculinity got that bad, or has the rep and stereotype of it towards black men, regarding black men, got that bad that you have people encouraging black women to date outside their race? Because it's just like, oh yeah, you just gonna go through hell with him. Go date a white man. Go date an Asian guy. I've seen it. Maybe some of y'all have too. And it's even been viral tweets about this. And some people call it, oh, it's just a preference. It's just a preference. But it's like, what is that preference based on? Because it could be a preference, but sometimes that preference is activated over time through experiences. Because living real life, experiencing people in the outside world, you'll see that I've seen there's a lot of black couples. You know, you see interracial couples, you see black couples, you see all type of couples. But this idea that has been seen for the last few years, where it's like, oh, black men are like the worst to date. They're the bottom of the barrel. Oh, they treat black women like trash anyway. So it's like, why even bother with them? Why even date them? Why even procreate with them? Why even have children with them? They're just gonna leave you. I've seen it. And you know, that's a common stereotype. But it's like, I feel like we have to break the mold with that. Break out of that idea, because it's like, it's in many cultures and many ethnicities, right? That happens to many ethnicities. But I feel like that's a common issue that I've seen happen with that. I don't see no Asian woman getting on YouTube like, stop dating Asian guys. They're terrible. They're and then you have a whole bunch of Asian women in the comments like, oh my God, yes. It's just like, damn, has it really gotten that bad? Has it really gotten that bad?
Why are you doing that?
And piggybacking off of that, in regards to black culture and hood culture and slang and all of that, right? I have this story where I'm like, wow, like the whole thing of like toxic masculinity, and how I have people from different ethnicities or cultural backgrounds that will borrow or adapt to another one just because it's popular, or just because it feels like that's the thing to do. Because I remember being in college, had to be either my sophomore or junior year, right? And I was sitting at lunch. You know, college is a big cafeteria, and it was getting pretty full. It was one of those periods where it was a lot of people just during lunch, typing, working on work, whatever, right? I had finally found a table that was empty. So I sat there, and I think I had to work on a quiz, or I was studying for a quiz, or on my phone, whatever I was doing. For like 5-10 minutes, I was by myself at this little small round table. Then maybe a few minutes later, this group of Asian guys, or it was like 3 or 4 of them, it was a whole group of them, group of Asian guys came and sat at the table. And this is one of those things where it's just like, sometimes you'll sit with strangers. It's a public cafeteria. It is what it is. Sometimes you'll sit with people you know, but it was one of those periods where I was by myself waiting for my next class. They came and sat down next to me. And I'm like, whatever. I'm still doing what I'm doing on my phone, studying for my quiz I'm about to have in my next class. And immediately, they start having a conversation. The first few words out their mouth is, oh yeah, nigga. Oh yeah, nigga. Oh, that nigga. Oh, nigga. And I'm like,
wait a minute, hold on.
And I'm looking at them, and they playing back and forth, play fighting. Oh yeah, nigga. Oh yeah, nigga. Every other word out their mouth is nigga. And I'm like, and this is one of those moments where you almost have like an out of body experience. Like, I've never really, you know what I'm saying? Like, in my head, I'm like, should I say something? Should I move? What should I do? Just ignore it? Keep doing what I'm doing? And then I think I had got up and I had moved or whatever I did, because my class was about to start anyway. And I went to just start walking to where my class was. And in my head, I'm like, damn, this group of Asian guys, y'all know the whole thing with the word nigga, and how people say, oh, that's for black people, that's for black people. You know, y'all know the history behind that word. That's a whole nother video in itself. I don't gotta explain all of that. But I'm like, wow, the whole thing with hood culture, black culture, and black slang that's really common amongst black men. Even other cultures and other ethnicities borrow from that, to where you could tell it was forced. Like they forced that into their language. They forced that into their vernacular. Where every other word was nigga, oh yeah, nigga, oh shut up, nigga. I'm like,
Oh my God.
and y'all know that whole idea of the frat boy trope, where it's like that common stereotype you see in a lot of TV shows and movies, where you have these college guys or these college age guys, you know, they wear the varsity jackets, they have that same type of vernacular, that playful vernacular, that misogynistic vernacular. All they want to do is party, drink, sleep with as much girls as possible, cheat on them, do this, do that. They don't care about their grades. They're really into sports more than they're into their grades. That whole type of, they're like the almost like the epitome of toxic masculinity, right? But in real life, guys like that might have been like that in school or college or whatever, they were like the popular ones, or they had a lot of friends or people drawn to them. You see what I'm saying? Like, they had all these toxic traits, toxic masculinity traits, but they still had a lot of friends. They still had a lot of girlfriends. You see what I'm saying? It's like, it's so toxic. These traits are so toxic, but you still have people that want to be around them. So it's like, what is it to where it's toxic masculinity, right? But these people, these same men, these same guys that practice this toxic masculinity seem to be the people that people want to be around the most. Same thing with, you have podcasters or personalities like Charlemagne the God or Howard Stern, and how they perpetuate those misogynistic, toxic masculinity traits over the air, you know, through their radio shows, through the media, through their platforms. But what's another thing with them? Charlemagne the God and Howard Stern, both of them are really popular. They have a large following. Same thing with Joe Budden. All these toxic masculinity traits, but they have a large following. They have huge platforms, consistent of mostly men. And y'all remember the whole thing with Kevin Samuels? He was like that guy, you know, he had the glasses, he always wore the suit, he was always talking about a woman's looks and this and that. He recently passed away. He had a large following. So it's like, I feel like a lot of men podcasters, they get a bad rap, especially black men podcasters, because that's another thing I've seen where it's like, oh, all black men do is get on a microphone and talk about this and talk about that. And that's why I have my podcast, if it wasn't for Tony, where it's really inspirational. It is not inspirational in a boring way where it's like, it's inspirational, it's relatable, and it's something that you can go away listening with a great message. You know, I even make it fun. I have like little memes and little sound bites that make it fun. But when you listen to it, it's an experience. And I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all could relate to it. If you haven't listened to it already, I'm going to link it down below in the comments. So please check it out if you haven't already. I'm sure most of you will enjoy it. And to end this, I understand the whole idea of defending yourself, protecting your family, your kids, not letting people walk all over you, not being a punk, right? But sometimes that energy gets tangled with social interactions within your family, within your friendships, within your relationships, when it's negatively reflected upon them. When in reality, even the nicest people, even the kindest people, even the sweetest, most bubbly people have their flaws too. Nobody's saying that like, you know, everybody's perfect. You have to act a certain way. You know, the opposite of, you know, not being toxic is, okay, you have to be perfect and do everything right. Everybody has their flaws, even the most nicest people that you could have ever met. You might not know about it, but they have their flaws too. When to me, regardless of your gender, it's all about being a good person. Now, what is a good person? That varies on a spectrum too. But I want to bring this discussion to the light because I've seen it a lot. I've seen people talking about it. I've seen many debates and tweets and posts about it. You know, specifically, I have my things with it when it comes to black men, but just in general, the whole idea of toxic masculinity, I feel like it's a topic that's going to keep on growing, it's going to keep on progressing in society because people don't realize that not only do they participate in it, but they indirectly or directly perpetuate it. Sometimes in relationships, sometimes in friendships, sometimes to their own children, in their own family. Some people don't realize how they help toxic masculinity progress in society. As far as toxic masculinity in society, there's a lot of work to be done. But as long as you're working on yourself, as long as you're being the best you can be, authentically, that's all that really matters in the end. So guys, let me know your thoughts down below. What are your thoughts on toxic masculinity? Have you ever been a victim of it? Have you participated in it? You have observations of it in the media, in relationships, in your family, wherever. However, what are your thoughts and comments and stories on toxic masculinity, and how do you see it progressing in society as time goes on? And what are your New Year's resolutions? I know that's like a cliche thing to say. Oh, it's a new year, ha ha ha, I'm gonna be a new person. But honestly, what are your New Year's resolutions? My New Year's resolution for 2023 is to make more social commentary videos on my channel. I know a lot of y'all know I like to do the Aaliyah videos and the music videos, but I want to do more social commentary videos because I have a lot to say. I feel like a lot of y'all have a lot to say, and these are just discussions that need to be had. Please don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Thank you for watching and listening. I'll see y'all in the next video.